Blog Talk Radio.
This is Jane Hoffman with Blog Talk Radio. We are going to interview Daniel Rappaport from Pazzaria Productions right after this song. Tonight's episode, we are going to interview an animator named Daniel Rappaport, who's been running Pazzaria Productions for several years. I'm going to pull him in now. Good evening, Daniel. How are you doing?
Hi, Jane. Good, thanks. That was a great song.
Anyways,
are we on the air?
Yep, we're on the air.
Wonderful.
So I was, Bob, it was Dylan Fest up here this week. Bob Dylan turned 77. So I thought I'd play a song about him, or by him, I should say. But anyways, Wade should be calling in the show in 20 minutes, but we'd like to do an introductory remarks for about 15 minutes. So you can tell us where you're at in your production company and what stages you've been working on over the last 5 years. So I'll just give you the floor, and I'll be chiming in with questions.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you. Also, in some of our conversation earlier, maybe a little bit later, since this is political gravity, if you wanted me to talk about anything political, I'd be more than happy to. But if we want to lead the show off with Pazzaria Productions, that's great. Thank you.
Sure, that would be great. Now, I know you're working on an iBook that you're sending out, but can you describe how all three of your projects work together with the Spellbook and the other things you've done in the past with Spark the Flying Frog and the Legend of the Lost Rose?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you so much. So, wow, I have 15 minutes. Okay, I don't often...
No, you have longer than that. I just told my co-host not to call in for a good 30 minutes. So just take your time, okay?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't often make radio appearances, so if I'm a little rusty, please forgive me. But no, thank you. You brought up a lot of great things there with regard to Pazzaria Productions, the Spellbook, The Legend of the Lost Rose, and Spark the Flying Frog. And yeah, I'd be more than happy to go ahead and kind of talk about what has been going on these past handful of years here. So let's see. The word, I'll just very, very much in brief say, the word Pazzaria, actually, it means kind of crazy or nut house in Italian. And you mentioned Wade. Actually, the name came from the name of a town in one of Wade's creations called the Toy Maker, which it isn't quite out yet. Hopefully we'll be able to see it soon. But anyhow, in that book, there's a town called Pazzaria. And so I just love the name, having no idea. I don't think Wade really knew at the time where it even really came from. He made it up, but it's interesting that it has that Italian connection. It actually kind of fits. So anyway, I loved it, and that's why the company's called Pazzaria Productions. I just ran with it. When a lot of people hear the word productions, they think, like film production company, something like this. Basically a company that creates or assists to create films for big film studios like Disney and Warner Brothers, things like this. We're using it just a little bit differently. We basically are the Disney and Warner Brothers, so everything is all private under our umbrella. And so our mission statement is everything that a guest would see, eat, buy, do, wear, and so on, all has to do with their own personal adventure within our world. So how do we do that, right? So certainly, so we're going to be doing that with and you mentioned their iBooks. Very, very true. However, at this time, they would only be available in iTunes through iBooks. So basically, if you have a Macintosh, iPhone, iPod Touch, or iPad, you can absolutely go ahead and view my material. While it's on my brain, my website is Pazzaria.com. I'll just spell it: P like Peter, A, Z zebra, A, RRobertIA, Pazzaria.com, very simple. And if you go there, we very much do our best to focus as much on innovation as possible. And so, if you go there, as you scroll down, you'll see the Spellbook. But as you continue to scroll, there's a little bit of a surprise. So if you kind of scroll a little bit fast, you'll see a really fun animation there. And I really haven't seen that around, so I thought it was kind of fun.
I have
cool.
seen the frog one towards the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, with the fun sparkly rainbow there. Yeah, it's kind of great. I had that custom made, and that is Spark the Flying Frog, one of our main characters. And I'm not going to get too much into social media with regard to listing all my social media profiles, but what I will say is that at the very bottom of that animation, you'll see a button that says something like our social media empire, something like this. If you click that, you'll be able to see we are on several social media channels, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, basically anyone you want, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Google+, we are there, and posting quite regularly. So if you want to go at Twitter, if you want to go and opt in, that would really help us out, be really fantastic, and we would really appreciate that. So onward into the literature here. So let's see. So The Legend of the Lost Rose is the longest of the 3 iBooks, and it was actually written first. So I can just go. I think you asked a little bit about maybe how they were made or what was going on. So that took me about 2.5 years.
We would also like to know the cost.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. Right now, everything is free. FREE. Folks.
Really?
Yeah. Totally. I'll
but I have to have I have to have an Apple device in order to access it fully?
At this time, yes. Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So just with regard to Amazon, I have nothing against Amazon at all, or their Kindles or what have you. Just at this time, the creation, just really in brief, my background is about 25 years digital media. So with regard to the creation of the works themselves, I create them in iBooks Author, and it's the easiest way to get the book and fastest way to get the books from concept into the store. So in order for me to actually get them on Amazon, they have to be completely recreated in Amazon, and as well, some of the cutting-edge features that we have on these books are not available on Amazon. So really, I've chosen the best experience for the work. And so that's why. And so in terms of The Legend of the Lost Rose, it started with just me looking through a clip art book. It's inspired by a clip art book and The Princess and the Frog a little bit. And so
cool.
I was just looking through this clip art book. Yeah, thank you. I was looking through this clip art book, and there was this rose and these fantasy characters and this frog with the rose in his mouth with the crown on his head. And I thought there's a story here. So I just basically wrote the story. And so in brief, what the story is about, it's a heartwarming story about a little frog there with wings. His name is Spark. He's an artist, very much a multimedia artist. He likes to paint, draw, sculpt, things like this, right? And so, but he's kind of a recluse, right? He kind of stays in this little frog hole. And don't get me wrong, he has gallery showings and things like this. He's very, very successful. But really the media goes to him. He doesn't like to go out too much because he just likes to stay at home and create his work. Well, the planet he lives on is called Light, and it's divided into 4 main continents: Earth, Wind, Water, and Fire. And the background religion of it is Wicca. And I just want to stress there's nothing negative, no devil worship, nothing like that. We don't show that, we don't preach that, we don't teach that. But are there villain-esque elements? Oh yes, absolutely. It has to be a fantasy story. But everything is white magic, if you will. So anyhow, so what happens is there's his planet is falling apart, and the reason this is why it's called The Legend of the Lost Rose. So there are 2 kind of theories as to why. One is there's a big giant dragon like a Poville. His name is a Poville creature, and he's like flying. He's frustrated. He's flying through town, smashing them up, and the people of the planet think that he's the reason why the planet's going under. As well, there's this conspiracy theory out there, so where the rose comes in. There's a gigantic rose that stretches all the way from the top of the planet, kind of up into the sky, and its roots stretch all the way around the planet. But the thing about it is you kind of don't know it's there unless you know it's there. And so the flower's roots are dying, therefore the planet is dying. which one is the real reason? You have to read the book to find out. And anyhow, what happens is Spark is in his little hole. He's out catching flies one day. And by the way, Spark does not know magic at all. Okay, everything he does is just pure craft. And so there's Fairy that comes by, older Fairy by the name of Iris Buttergrow, and she likes him. She's kind of taken by his innocence a little bit, and she absolutely knows what's going on with Planet, and he doesn't know that he's actually an inextricable link to saving the planet. And so since I have a little bit more time here, I'll just say, underneath his hole there in the third level in the basement, there's this magic elixir rose water that he actually uses to save. So what happens is Iris Buttergrow gets him out of his hole, and it's about their adventures and the really amazing creatures and places that they go along the way and how they go about doing that, So if you think about this artist who doesn't want to go anywhere, and all of a sudden he's forced into this adventure. So along the way they meet actually a character, one of the more beloved characters, inspired by a prior dog of mine, an Italian greyhound, and my dog's name was Prince, and I thought, okay, well, I'll put him in the story. So there's kind of some jokes there. He's actually a king, but his name is Prince, so you can see kind of area there for some great dialogue there. And so so there's this whole thing about Prince's kingdom and how he's involved in everything. They also run into Zeus, okay, and the sea god, and what happens there, and his kingdom is kind of dried up, and how that comes back. And anyway, it's a great story. So moving on to the second thing that I wrote. I'm going to get into, let's see. Yeah, I'll talk about the stories, and then I'll talk about the methodologies as far as the innovation therein. So the second, about the time I was finishing up The Legend of the Lost Rose, actually, in Hollywood, a lot of, prequels were, even today, prequels in film were popular. I thought, well, there's something to this prequel thing. So I'll go ahead and write a prequel. So I wrote Spark the Flying Frog, and that talks about how Spark was born, where he came from, and it's a very, very short work. I didn't really feel the need to make it too long, but that's up there. And those two are in the iBook store right now. Again, The Legend of the Lost Rose and Spark the Flying Frog, and they are free downloads right now.
And can we find it under your name, too? Under Daniel Rappaport or under Pazzaria Productions?
Probably Daniel Rappaport, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And then yeah, totally. And so with regard to the Spellbook, Jane, you mentioned earlier that I think you were hinting at the Spellbook kind of tying everything together. And exactly. And so the Spellbook is the latest iteration. This is not out yet. This is in production. And I'm calling it a hub project, okay? And the reason why is because it's kind of, it's called the Spellbook because each chapter or each section is it's inspired by a group of wizards that appear in The Legend of the Lost Rose called the Wizard Coven. And we go through each wizard and talk about them. They're a hoot. Actually, a big inspiration for the Wizard Coven kind of came from the show Bewitched, if you know. You know how she has her whole family of witches, and it's really funny.
About Wicca. You wrote a passage on your page about Wicca?
The background religion of the planet happens to be Wicca.
Mhm. Okay.
Right. Yeah. And so, and the reason why, kind of multi-layered here, is because often in fantasy, you see magic happen, but you don't know why it happens or how it happens. So I thought I would try and provide some kind of explanation as to where this magic comes from. So that's why that's there.
It sounded interesting. I did meet a witch once, so I know what Wicca means, but I really don't know much about it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just I guess at its core, religiously, it's a worship of nature, and witches, if you will, they would utilize spells to do their best to maybe take different directions or paths in life. Often things like divination are involved as well. Certain scenes in Harry Potter aren't too far off from the truth there, reading tea leaves and whatnot. So I don't believe there's a whole lot of divination. I don't really go too far deep into the Wiccan religion. It's just kind of there, and just in certain aspects, just kind of an explanation as to why the magic is there. Definitely fairies. Fairies is a big kind of belief in fairies is kind of a big part of it. So anyhow, that's just why it's there. Let's see. So I was talking, and then Spark the Flying Frog, and then the Spellbook. Correct. So the Spellbook was inspired by the Wizard Cousin, and so the Spellbook is just exactly that. It's a collection of spells, but they're not the only purpose they serve. I would say at this time they're just kind of these fun rhymes, and they're there to, in a fun way, introduce Spark the Flying Frog and the Legend of the Lost Rose. How this is innovative is that it's, well, first off, it's one book that links to the other two, and I don't think that really is prevalent in fantasy at all. And also, going back to our mission statement here, in all three books, what we have is within each chapter, there's definitely in The Legend of the Lost Rose, within each chapter, there's a piece of merchandise that you can click and link to, and then that piece of merchandise is shipped to the home, and that would move the story forward or is integral to the character's plot, thereby bringing you directly into the story. Another innovation that we have is that in The Legend of Lost Rose and Spark the Flying Frog, there's these full-screen touch animations that people really like. So if you tap, 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 you'll see this animation move forward. And actually with the Spellbook, the animation that we have is the actual words of the it's laid out in a little bit more in the style of almost like a children's book, where it's very few words per page. So when you tap, 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 you'll see these words animate on screen. It's great fun. Another thing we're doing is also involving into the book, and this is with regard to the Spellbook in particular, will be music. And so within each page, there'll be this kind of background music. And as you flip the pages, it'll all kind of flow together. And as a separate item, you'll be able to purchase the musical soundtrack that goes to the Spellbook, which will be a lot of fun. So that's what's going on. And just getting back to the price briefly, after the Spellbook is created, the Spellbook will be free. The Spark the Flying Frog, I'm thinking, will be somewhere in the realm of $2 or $3, and Legend of the Lost Rose will probably be somewhere in the realm of like $8 to $10. And the soundtrack will probably be, I don't even know yet. It depends on how many tracks. Probably $6 to $10, something like this. Typical price. The soundtrack will absolutely be available on through many channels: iTunes, Amazon, probably Spotify, things like this. And the reason being is that it's far easier to get music into many channels than it would be for iBooks, if that makes sense. So that's what's going on with Pazzaria Productions. And I just want to touch on as well over the past, just a little bit behind the scenes a little bit, over the past handful of years, I've really been refining my marketing, and I think that I have it down now in the sense that over the past 3 or 4 months, I'm really focusing on growing my audience, so that's exciting. I mean, you were excited to bring me on the show, so the word is getting out there in a much more concise, refined way, and I'm just growing my email list especially. I didn't really have an email list before, so I recently learned how to grow that. So, and also I have a blog called Pazzaria Digi Ed. That is linkable off my website, and that's a little bit behind the scenes. I very much believe in digital media education. So the blog talks about a little bit about how we do what we do. In our next blog post, we'll be talking about how the tools I use for the animation would be Keynote and iBooks Author, and how those two marry together to create the animation. So that's what's going on.
That's pretty interesting. I thought you also used a graphic in, I think it was Google or something. I have to look it up. But I saw some type of tool that you used on Pazzaria.com. I'll have to look it up while you're talking. I'm sorry. I don't have the information in front of me. But it looked like you were... I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah.
On Adobe.com?
Yeah,
Adobe.com provides some type of tool that you can upload images. Is that true?
Yeah. So Adobe, for those that don't know, Adobe is, most folks are familiar with Adobe through a program called Adobe Acrobat, because Acrobat is everywhere, and people often use that to open up and look at and read PDFs. So that's a big, that's a fairly wide-ranging program with regard to Adobe, and you see the name here and there in the media and what have you. Another huge program that people immediately know is Photoshop, but people don't often associate Photoshop with the word Adobe. Adobe is this company that creates many, many digital media programs. So just in brief, for the Creative Cloud, they would be Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere, After Effects, a lot of video production, graphic design with regard to InDesign. So, if it exists in digital media, Adobe has a product for it. There's even some 3D stuff. They're really far-reaching. What you're maybe referring a little bit more to, and by the way, Creative Cloud does cost money. That's about $50 a month. What you're referring to is actually some amazing free tools that Adobe's come out with called Adobe Spark. And and I love them from a design standpoint. Those are free, and so the website was created with Adobe Spark Page. My social media posts are created with Adobe Spark Post, and then there's also Adobe Spark Video, which if you go to my YouTube channel, pretty much all the videos there are created with Adobe Spark Video. And you'll see a lot of the.
I am familiar with some of your technology because I made on the Apple tools. I made a short film on YouTube through Apple tools, so I am kind of familiar with that. Anyways, we do have Wade on the line, but I have a few more questions. So most of the stuff is visible online. It's electronic. It's downloadable through iTunes. But do you have any visions for networking in the industry still, and possibly having a full-length film or a full-length animation, or would you rather just have hands-on stuff that people can access immediately?
Yeah, so you're reading my mind a little bit here. At the end of this month, I actually have a meeting with a very good friend of mine. His name is Jeffrey Giacoletti, and his background is absolutely in storytelling. He's actually worked with Walt Disney Imagineering, and has connections, a lot of Disney connections. His wife actually is currently working she's been working at Disneyland for, probably 10, 15 years. I don't know. Anyhow, he worked on California Adventure, Tokyo Disney Sea. So he's very, very well versed in fantasy storytelling. It's very lucky to meet him. I worked on a web series with him, which actually it was okay. It didn't get off the ground, but it established our relationship. He worked with Pazzaria Productions. And so at the end of this month, he and I are going to have a meeting, and he has some investors involved in what I think might be either a television show or a film for Spark the Flying Frog. Don't quote me on this. I don't really know yet until the meeting happens. But yes, as you can see, a lot of my art is very kind of animation-driven or has very much an animated look. But when we have a film, we want to do it the Pazzaria Productions way. We with regard to integrating the audience deeper into the story and what we do. And as far as a more far-reaching vision, we absolutely want to have built environments, themed environments, things like this. And really focus in areas where. Is it kind of like a special format?
Is it a special format like Pixel? It's going to be its own innovation?
A special format. Are you talking about with regard to the film, how the film?
I don't know. I guess I'm when Pixel Animation always puts something out, they always project themselves as being so unique and primary in the industry on how they create things.
Are you talking about Pixar?
For you, it just sounds like as long as it's hands-on and interactive, you've already met your criteria.
Yeah. We're really stressing the interactivity here. Correct.
Anyways, I am going to pull Wade in now because he probably has better questions than me. I've only I've done print journalism and writing. I did write a screenplay and a novel, but I'm not I am a visual person, but I don't have the skills.
For sure.
But I'm going to pull them in one moment.
For sure.
Good evening, Wade. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, how's it going? Absolutely.
We're good. When was the last time you and Daniel talked?
Recently.
Let's see. Not too long ago. A couple of weeks or a week or something.
Oh, great. So, Daniel, you know that he's a flight attendant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He knows?
Yeah.
So do you have any questions for Daniel on marketing or creation for his production company? And we are going to segue also into the state of the American mind these days as far as what Daniel thinks about President Trump and the general cultural vibe of our nation. So,
I have a lot to say.
why don't we start out? Why don't we just finish up this representation of his production company first, though?
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't prepare a lot of questions. I mean, I can think of something on the spot, but definitely wanted to give my support for this wonderful, magical thing called Pazzaria Productions. It's going to be dazzle the world. And so how about...
I'm just a little sad that I was planning to buy an iPad in the next 30 days because Lauren had moved out and I don't have access to any Apple stuff. But I can't really access everything I want to see because I have a Toshiba laptop and pretty much I'm pretty deprived at this point.
Yeah.
So we could segue, unless Daniel wants to wrap it up with more PR stuff, we could segue into something different.
Sure. Do you anything about marketing maybe? You love, I know you've been teaching some of that in your blog.
Oh, sure. Any particular points on marketing or thoughts or anything you had questions on?
Well, Daniel, I have a suggestion.
Wait. Sure.
Go ahead.
I started out in Twitter about 6 years ago, and one of my friends has posted 40,000 tweets, and he only has 260 followers. But he has this weird mantra that he has to have more followers than who he's following. Now, I got into two arguments with two celebrities, and my Twitter account, by accident, not on purpose, and my Twitter account exploded. So now I have almost 1,400 followers. Is there a way that you use hashtag words or trolling devices to try to get more people to pay attention to your websites? Now, every social media one is different, but I was just wondering if you had any specific tools.
If I had any specific tools to do what exactly? I'm sorry.
To attract more viewers or followers.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Wade, does that question work for you as far as...
Sure.
Anything you had?
So you're talking about Twitter. Yeah, Twitter sounds good. I was curious about YouTube, but sure, how to get followers on Twitter.
For sure. Actually, I can answer...
Daniel, do you have any of your animation on YouTube?
I do. But actually, may I go ahead and answer the Twitter question?
Either one of you can. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I was just telling you how my membership grew.
Sure, that would be for Daniel.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would really love to answer that. So I see what you're saying with regard to getting into an argument with a celebrity and growing your followers that way. Okay. So what I will say with regard to marketing is that the moment you study marketing and the moment you look out there are a million different tactics and tricks that 1,000 people will give you. If you try and follow them all, you will get nowhere and you will go crazy. Okay, I know I'm speaking from experience, actually. So, and this has been over the past couple of years here. So as again, I've really refined my marketing and fine-tuned it. Okay, so that is absolutely a tactic. If something with regard to a celebrity comes up in the future, will I entertain it? I'm not sure. Thank you so much for that. That makes a lot of sense. We'll see what happens. Right. Right now,
Well, you're dealing with animation right now, but
yeah.
I'll tell you another tactic. Like, there was I wrote a film review of a little-known film called Doonby, and then I tweeted to the lead actress on Twitter to get her to retweet it. Now, do you ever hire actors to do voiceovers where you could solicit? I know the voice-over industry is very limited. Have you ever done anything like that?
Okay, so I'm going to back up to the Twitter question a moment here, and I will absolutely segue into what you're saying there. So yes, with regard to my meeting with Jeffrey, he happens to know, I'm not going to say over the air because it's confidential, but he does happen to know a huge voice. I'm sorry. He within his circle of friends, we can basically call up a huge voice who has done a gigantor Disney feature film, and so so with his wife working at Disney and his past in Imagineering and his contacts, yes, absolutely. So once we go ahead and we have no problem asking this person to do a voice in our film. So yes, once that comes about, and I listen. I know for of course, celebrities. The moment you put them on something, that's where the dollars come in, of course. And so yes, when that happens, yes, we will. Hopefully, we'll see an explosion in our growth with regard to social media. How I do it now is that I will go into people who actually I'm following people and the same folks are following me actually within Disney, because I figure the Disney crowd is huge and those folks will be into what I am putting out there. So quite often I'll go into people who are following like Disneyland or the company or any film or whatever, and I'll comment on stuff that they are also talking about. And I will like them or follow them quite often. And Google Plus, it's within communities, etc. And then the reverse will happen. They'll then like and interact and follow me. And so what I do is, I often try and put out about 3 social media posts at a time, but they all go out at the same time with another tool called IFTTT, I Igloo, F Frank, T-Tom. It stands for if, this, then, that. And that takes my posts and post them out to all my social media profiles all at the same time. But if that's all you did is post, you're not going to really get anywhere. You have to interact with people, and you have to engage in the conversations that they're into, especially on Twitter and Instagram, because then they'll see, this production company is, talking about things that I'm interested in. I'm going to go ahead and see what they're talking about. So, and in that way, that's how you grow your community. So that
yeah, I did notice a couple of your followers on Twitter were Disney fans.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you just hashtag words like Disney, you're going to get 5 or 6 more followers every time you use a vital word on Twitter.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah, although I feel like if I have a post and I hashtag it with anything Disney, that is a misrepresentation because I'm not Disney.
Right. And Wade, I know that you were out there in Asia doing a lot of stuff, but did you ever promote things within the United States in a similar manner?
Not until recently. Yeah, because I was promoting stuff out there. And then, when I came back, and it took me a while to even know what it was, hearing about hashtags. I had to ask, what are these for now? So when I came back, but then I started using them, and just trying to promote the work I'm trying to do, and that can be useful.
It takes consistency. Yeah, for sure. It takes consistency. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
I'm sure.
And Daniel, is there any other feedback you want to, any other information you want to provide before we segue into the cultural mood of our country right now?
Let's see. So,
and how much time are you devoting to this how much time are you devoting to this in lieu of your Uber job? Like, are you pretty much running 24/7, or is it something that you can work and develop on at this stage in your life?
Oh, for sure. So actually, I'm doing a little bit less Uber these days, and I actually work for three catering companies, and that's a lot of fun. Actually, I'm enjoying the catering.
That sounds awesome.
As far as how much time do I spend on Pazzaria Productions, as much time as I can. Really, I mean, yeah. If I'm not with my family or working in a job, I'm with Pazzaria Productions. And I really consider myself blessed that I have this digital media background, because I can just kind of pump stuff out, fairly quickly. I don't have to hire a design firm or a marketing firm. Like I've figured it out, at least, for now, so to get the word out, so that when stuff does start to sell and I get bigger, and hopefully this meeting with Jeffrey will go well, and we'll just grow the company. So that's really where I'm at.
That's great. I am going to look into that software a little bit. I've been drawing for the school for over a year. I'm like the primary artist at my grade school, and it would be cool to explore some of those animation apps that are on the internet. So,
I want to mention something very, very key here with regard to Adobe Spark, Page Post and Video. Those apps are available on the web for free, and they're also available for download for free. There is a $10 a month charge if you want to, and that's more for branding if you're a company. But if you're just using it as a teaching tool, that might not be so important. Right now, the apps are available only on iOS, but they are working. There's been a huge cry for Adobe Spark Post for Android, and Android is coming out. I'm actually in a group on Facebook called Adobe Spark Insiders, so I have all the inside information.
Well, I'm going to read your blog on how you develop these types of projects. So I'll be sure to do that sometime this week, and I'll also try to periodically promote your stuff on my Twitter page.
I would love to have a continued relationship as far as continuing to be on your show as often as I can. That'd be great.
Sure. We've done some shifting around these. Our show is now at 5 co-hosts, including myself, but one person's on a leave of absence right now. We have grown a lot. Our numbers have grown. We're on YouTube, so we have a lot more visibility. I also want to say that Daniel and I started having more contact with each other in 2016 when it looked like Trump was on the verge of becoming president. And then the worst nightmare happened. He did. So I kind of want to just go through some of those stages. And Daniel, what do you think, as Joe Q. citizen who may or not been involved heavily in Democratic politics or elections, really think about this last election cycle and how people were pushed away, like Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz and many other people who had some sort of credibility, and they were just pushed away by an outsider who was Trump?
Yeah, so anything I'm going to say from this point forward does not reflect anything with regard to Pazzaria Productions. I just want to say that right up front. So with regard to Donald Trump, I mean, you pretty much said it. He's quite disgusting, and how he was elected is, oh boy, it's a bit of a, I don't want to say total mystery, but I mean, gosh, it's very, very, to me, it's very, very surprising. And just
I can talk about
down to the most recent news story with regard to him blaming the Democrats for children being separated from their parents at the border. How in the heck are you just going to randomly blame the Democrats for that when the Democrats are asleep in their bed and have nothing to do with it? Anyway.
Well, the Democrat Party generally supports fair immigration and weeding, a proper legalization process. right?
But they, for sure. But I mean, just just separating kids from their families is just. I mean, I don't know.
Well, what most people don't know is that the intensity of ICE and the INS, they're just like nailing people right at the border, including Central American refugees. Like they're not letting them go one step further. Yeah. Like.
I mean, that's what they are supposed to do. Yeah.
They are supposed to do it on some levels, and it is difficult because there's so many people from Central America that have refugee status, and we can't handle the volume. But also people who live in doormat cities in certain places in Los Angeles and California, they're just going in there and raiding them and then separating the children from the parents. So there's a lot of things that never get published in the media about it.
Yeah.
And I don't have the solution.
Right.
But the other thing, Dan, the other thing I want to ask Daniel, and Wade can chime in whenever he wants, is that being that, I don't think the formula for Donald Trump getting elected was a composite lowest common denominator, like people only rallied about him because they had common values. I think it was more of a demographics. There was a certain number of people in every small town from Minnesota down to Texas that somehow evaded the electoral process and just didn't want anybody mainstream or with a political career. So they just, like the same people who voted for Obama 8 years earlier voted for Trump. Now, to me, that doesn't make any sense. Does it make any sense to you guys that someone who would actually vote for Obama would still vote for Donald Trump 8 years later?
Yeah, people's views change, and people were upset about. People have gotten upset about a lot of political correctness. You hear about the social justice warriors, and there are people that get fanatical, and that drives other people. That when you get extremes, people respond in extreme. So right now we're getting like two extremes trying to react to it. And there are people on the other side that are very nasty that are driving people to the far right. And that's what's going on, I see. Yeah.
That's a good point.
I just saw a news report about people spray painting swastikas, and they did it incorrectly on gravestones. Like, who the hell randomly goes to a gravesite and does that? It's just, there's this unfortunate evil being unleashed throughout America, and, he's not called the Orange Fuhrer for nothing.
There's people who think that our choices are communism or fascism.
There are certain segments of the population that will do crazy stuff in thinking that Donald Trump indirectly supports it, like maybe clinging to their old Civil War statutes. And there was a recent lynching in Oklahoma, but on another level, I do think that Donald Trump, before he got elected, didn't really care about the plausibility of the gay issues and other things. And I think the only reason that he partnered up with Pence is to win the evangelical vote. So I don't see Trump as a moral crusader in the sense that he's trying to preserve whatever traditional values there are. I just think that he's trying to cling to whatever mild successes he can attach himself to while still trying to present himself as a family man with family values, in which his behavior has shown us the opposite.
Yeah, he's quite mixed up and quite confused and doesn't really know which straw to draw at any given moment.
Because and I know this is controversial. Let me just put this out there. Let's just say that, Trump's been married 3 times and he has 5 kids from 3 different women. The fact of the matter is even if he is sincerely repented and was brought into his own Christian value system, he still does not exhibit moral virtue because he's always ranting on Twitter or yelling at somebody or name calling. So I can't as a Christian accept him as a person. Even if he was Democrat, I wouldn't be able to accept him with that type of behavior, mindset, and reactivity. So I guess for you or an immigrant or somebody whose cause is attached to government justice, I would feel threatened as an individual, but I think eventually, by the time 2020 rolls around, I think that his steam is going to run out, and if there's still this much chaos in 2020, there's no way he can get reelected.
Oh, for sure.
We'll have to see.
Sure.
There's a lot of, look at some dissenting views on some blogs. There's a lot of people out there that are just see the opposite and think everything's working out great, and there's pretty. And the thing is that
you're right, Wade. But the fact of the matter is I don't know if his policies are going to hold up, even if people maintain that belief system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to be living in California, where we're very quite liberal with regard to LGBTQ. The largest LGBTQ organization, I believe, in the world is out here, the Los Angeles Gay Lesbian Center. They recently changed their name. I don't know what it is. It's been Los Angeles Gay Lesbian Center for so long, and that's what I'm going to call it. I'm sorry if you look that up in Google, it'll come up. Anyhow, but yeah, I'm very lucky and I'm blessed, and it's just I hope and pray that there is just so much hatred against Trump that he does not get reelected. And since he got reelected, there have been people out there trying to take course of action to impeach him. So when that trial will happen and when that will happen, I don't know. Apparently it takes quite a long time. So
the problem with the Mueller investigation is that it's kind of dragged out too long. CNN has watered it down, the Mueller investigation. Like, it seems to be going in a cesspool, but never. Well, they have made indictments against Paul Manafort and that other guy, but it does seem to be going nowhere kind of fast.
And I'm not so sure that finding something against him is the issue. I think it's more the legal process. Wade, you might be right, actually. I don't know that for sure, but my feeling is that me actually going through some legal processes right now, it takes forever. So, and especially impeaching, a president of the United States, whom, millions of people have voted for, I would imagine, and I don't know who it has to go through, but my guess is when you're at that level of profession in the world, that it's much more difficult than, trying to find someone for murder, I would say, or burglary, something like this,
Well,
so, yeah, I'm sure
my understanding... Yeah, my understanding is that there has to be a law.
On the line, but I'm not going to pull him in for 3 or 4 minutes. I'm going to let Wade go and then make another comment.
Sure. Like with Nixon, they found him that he broke the law. There has to be, they have to pick a law that he breaks, and then from there, because it can't just be people don't like him. There has to be something specific. It has to be a law broken. So
for me,
what the investigations
this is
are
how
for.
I view it. Let's just say, first of all, Donald Trump has breached the law by not providing his taxes or making them public. Yeah. Secondly, even if he did collude with the Russians, which is plausible, at least through his aides, it's only a reflection on America that they don't have enough backbone or wherewithal to study the information about each candidate running and making a sound decision. Like, no matter how much negative publicity Russia might have filtered through Facebook or other places, I still blame Americans for electing them. And third of all,
for sure,
when Bill Clinton was impeached, you can be impeached by the House and not be removed from office. He was never removed from office, and the Senate refused to vote on it. And all he did is lie about the sex situation, which was which was basically lying under oath. So Trump could be found guilty of something, but I think by the time 2020 rolls around, it's not going to be solved.
But it was found proven that he did collude with the Russians.
Was it?
But even so, the investigation isn't over with, and there's no trial or hearing that has been scheduled yet, except for Paul Manafort, one of his aides, does have a pending hearings in September. With that, I'm going to pull Don in just to say hello, and then he can add to the conversation. Sure. 1 second.
I could be wrong. Go ahead.
Don, hi, Don. You're on the air.
Hey, Don.
Hello, Don.
Hi, everybody. This is Don.
We have Daniel Rappaport from Woodland Hills on the line. He's already finished his interview about Pazzaria Productions. And Wade Hawkins from last week, who you enjoyed talking with.
Okay.
And now we're just
hi, Wade.
We're just pretty much talking about Daniel and I haven't spoken face to face in probably 4 years, so we thought we'd just talk about the mood of the country because I know that he was upset at the time that Donald Trump was elected.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So anyways, Wade, did you want to elaborate on what you were just saying before I kind of cut you short?
Last thing I remember, we were talking about impeachment, and I pointed out, they'll have to find the law that he breaks. So, it's a pretty difficult process, and it's not likely he'll be removed from office anytime soon.
While Don changes rooms, I have a question for you and Daniel. Either one of you can answer. So, let's say the election cycle completes itself, the midterms are over, and it's mid-2019. Let's say Bernie Sanders runs again, and a couple other credible Republicans who don't attempt to be offensive to others, but they're running against party wishes, and Donald Trump's still on the ballot. Do you guys think in 2020 there's going to be more awareness that the media won't accept the intolerance of a public figure like Trump? Like, are they going to give someone as crazy as him airtime? And is it just going to be a giant circus again?
Giant circus again, I think.
Answer that first.
I don't expect any drastic changes by 2020. It's going to be a tough. They're going to have to do something good to compete with Trump, and I don't see. Typically the party in power is not going to try to switch to a different candidate, so I don't see another Republican. I would love to see Ben Shapiro, but that's not going to be till after Trump has a shot at it in 2020. But they say Bernie Sanders. I mean, Republicans and Democrats alike say that he would have the best chance against Donald Trump. They said both sides are saying that the DNC made a big mistake by not choosing Bernie Sanders to go against Trump.
I think we need, even if both Sanders and Trump are on the ballot, they need a couple renegade young people like Cory Booker or somebody. That's what, because, there's just too many old people.
Well, old people have wisdom and life experience.
Daniel, why don't you say something since you're the special guest?
Thank you so much. Why don't I say something with regard to, I'm sorry, did you have a question?
I mean, what I'm saying is it going to be business as usual? Is there going to be someone in the debates just hurling insults at people like Little Marco and calling Jeb Bush, minimizing Jeb Bush's credibility?
Yeah, well, the media have learned. And is it going to be the same thing, circus, or it will? Yeah, so that's a great question, I think. Part of me really wants to say that yes, that media and people would have learned from the mistake of Donald Trump and what, because I feel like, a good part of the media is even kind of getting sick and tired of him. It's like, what has he done today? Great, we have to report this, So hopefully, hopefully there will be a change of thinking, for sure. I think it would almost have to be.
I agree, because I think if we're going to evolve as a country, that even the media has to come to par, like on a level with C-SPAN as far as intellectualizing the issues. Now, Don, why don't you tell Daniel what you do for a living now? You're going to be canvassing door to door?
Yes. I'm pretty much working on a PAC. I work for a super PAC called For Our Future, and we've already helped Catherine Cortez Masto's and quite a few other politicians in the last cycle. But we'll be ready to rock and roll this cycle for a couple of our candidates here in Nevada who are going to make the difference in their country. So we've already started an early canvass period, and we'll be working on that until November.
And by the way, Daniel, Senator Mastos was the first elected female Latina to the United States Senate. So she came out in Nevada, basically.
Right. I believe I heard about this. Yeah, that's lovely. Good.
Right. Don, can you carry the show, man? I got to pull Albert in a minute. So,
all right. Well,
Don, carry the show for a minute. I'll be right back.
All right. And now, gentlemen, I'm not aware of the programming because I didn't call in until 9:45. So
no problem.
I heard a lot of conjecture, a lot of history that you guys had, but my main concern as a political pundit and a campaign worker is what do you want to see in the future? And anything that you guys have for our existing or our projected makeup of our legislature is going to be key.
Sure. How about Daniel and then let's both take a turn. You want to go first, Daniel? Or do you?
I
would you rather time to think?
A statement. What was our question? I heard it as a statement. I'm sorry.
No.
What would we like to see the future makeup of the country, or what would we like to see in the future, politically, right?
Right. In terms of the makeup of the legislature, the country, and some of the things that we're looking at in terms of the justice system, the educational system, the PA. These guys are all crooks, and they're trying to, the crooks part is not even conjecture; it's almost fact, and we're looking at the fact that this whole thing is being taken over by a mafia-like organization.
Oh yeah,
theoretically.
I do have responses, but you can go first. Yeah.
So how I would run the country?
Yeah.
So what I would love to do is, let's see. So you mentioned the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, and the justice system is what I heard. Those are great and wonderful. And I'm just going to throw in there the heads of the rest of the world, basically in New York, the United Nations. Right. So I don't think, at least it's not on the media, that Donald Trump spends nearly enough time with the United Nations. I am very much for gathering everyone into one big room, discussing the issues on a humane level, and I don't know if Donald Trump is capable of doing this. And of course, not everyone is going to agree because we have all different kinds of governments out there. But and I'm going to take it back just while it's on my head a little bit to trade. I mean, doing things like interrupt just because he feels like it. Interrupting trade with other countries of the world is not moving humanity forward. And also with regard to the EPA and Environmental Protection Agency, saving the Earth a priority. Oh, absolutely. And so I think that we have to preserve what we have for the future. Absolutely, without a doubt. And our country is making progress. Yes, of course. Is it a perfect system? No. Will it ever be a perfect system? Probably not. Are we fixing the hole in the ozone layer? Absolutely. Could there be more water in California? Sure. Is the Earth heating up? Yes. Are we doing enough are we doing enough to make sure that it doesn't heat up in the future? Maybe we are, maybe we're not. Are we working on it? Yes. Could we be working on it harder? Of course, absolutely. Every day you see something. Starbucks is redoing their cup, to their paper cup to be more earth-friendly, which it isn't now. Now people are going after McDonald's to try and get rid of plastic straws, et cetera, et cetera. It is, it is moving forward. If you ask if EPA isn't moving forward fast enough, they may say no. But but the thing is that doing just clown things and just things off the top of your head because you feel like it isn't moving humanity forward. So I think that this discourse and this educational discussion with other people and other people of the world, I think that that's very, very important. As far as the justice system, I'm probably the wrong person to ask. I don't think, unless it's tied to a specific news story or something, I don't have, and it's also 10 o'clock at night. I don't have too many thoughts on that. But that's just, I would just try and work with people in as humane a manner as possible to solve as many issues as we can.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted
Absolutely.
to add
My
one
turn?
thing before I pull Albert in. The one main framework that we kind of ignored but didn't bring up is that Donald Trump is using an old mindset of nationalism that has been obsolete since the end of World War II. We cannot go back to nationalism in the interconnected world. By putting America first and putting everybody else on the back burner as far as fair trade deals and everything, it's not plausible. It will not work.
Oh, for sure.
And
I think we need to have win-win agreements. Hi, Albert.
Albert,
every single
say hi to Daniel, Wade, and Don.
Hey, Daniel,
Albert?
Wade, and Don.
Hey, Albert.
Daniel, Wade.
This is Albert from Palm Springs. He's now officially a college graduate in automotive career. And what do you have to say tonight based on our discussion, Albert?
I love Palm Springs.
What's up? Oh.
We're talking about the state of the nation and what to expect in upcoming elections.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Well, I'll just cover a little bit quick backstory on that. I just did my finals a week ago for my Math 40 class. So, lots of studying and homework, and then the big final, And then I just graduated this Friday, the ceremony and everything.
Great.
So, it's been a busy weeks, busy last couple of days, But now I can.
We understand it. Thank you for calling in at the correct time.
Yeah. No, it's always good to have more people join. I'm glad to hear new voices. And
by the way, Albert, Wade was on last week's show, and Daniel, he spent the first 30 minutes talking about his production company. It's an animation style company that's accessible through the internet. So that's what the first half of the show was about. Now we're just talking general politics.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So anyone can chip in now. There's no monitoring.
Oh, well, Don had a question I was going to answer.
Yeah.
Can I do that one now?
Go ahead, Wade.
His future.
So with the future, I would like us to get back to Martin Luther King's dream of let's judge people by the content of their heart, not the color of their skin.
Right.
I would, it seems like there's a lot of this person must be good, that person must be bad. It's like, no, let's take people as what they are and look at their heart.
Sure.
And I would like to see decisions become more localized. That's not always a popular opinion, but I think that people are arguing, and we're trying to agree on too many things with too many people that we don't need to agree on. I actually wrote a story about a restaurant where they decided that everybody should vote on one dish that everybody gets, and everybody ends up fighting. It's like, you know, we it's such a big country. It's like leave things to be decided locally that don't need to be decided by everybody, and then people don't have to fight as much. Yeah, and I want to see more. That's good, and I want to see more rights of, like, we need to have worry about the rights of people, the country people, the off-gridding people. You know, that we need to not be, if someone's on 5 acres of land, you let people come up with new solutions. You know, like, you're on 5 acres of land, you should be able to try stuff. You should be able to not have to hook up to a utility company, and there's so many possibilities. Right. They know how to make homes environmentally friendly, so let's let people do it.
Right.
Right, I get what you're saying, and I want to add to that what you're talking about. And, of course, I think, you know, we're getting too much where we're, politically correctly, you know. Like, you can't, like a white guy can't say nigger, like, you know. I mean, it doesn't even matter.
I won't say that.
It doesn't even matter who says nigger. I mean, as long as you treat people the same, and you say the word in the same meaning to anybody else. If you're a white guy, you say it to a black guy, you say nigger, but you mean it the same way as for anybody. You know, you should take it people should be very more, lightly about it, not, you know, take it with a grain of salt and not be serious about it. You know, so you got too many people being serious, especially the feminists, right? Feminists, you got to talk to a woman this way. You know, if it's been a man, you could talk to this way. So a woman has to be talked to and treated differently than a man, you know. And which is absurd.
Don't want to
I think that the way you should talk to a man or a woman, it should be the same, you know. It should be the same way in the same manner. So, you know, but it's just too much with the politically correctness and how, you know, and people should, and how other people think that other people should be treated differently because, you know, their sex or racism or whatever, you know. But I think we should all just be treated the same and stop going off those terms and bullshit. You know?
The thing about you're talking about, Albert, is the whole crux of the matter is that there is a hierarchy in this country, and this is an experiment, so it's doomed to fail anyway. But the bottom line is that there's a hierarchy, and if a white guy called another white guy a nigger, that would be grounds for killing the whole family, a civil war.
Yeah. Well, check this out, because, I mean, now we have Donald Trump, right? And Donald Trump has been saying a lot of absurd things to a point that doesn't, like, most people just don't give a shit. Like, they don't really care what Donald Trump says anymore. They don't really care. I mean,
you actually bring up a great point.
Yeah.
Wait, you were talking about localization earlier, and I want to actually talk a little bit about the point that was made that people don't care anymore. Yeah, I think that, you know, a lot of people are just kind of ignoring Donald Trump and doing their own thing anyway.
Yeah.
And a great example of this that was kind of going on, I mean, before Donald Trump really got into office, but Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is basically a huge, you know, screw you to federal currencies of the world, because, you know, the more money you print, the paper money is a failed system, because a little bit, you know, because the more money you print, the less that particular currency is worth. And so, you know, and as well, you know, it takes a long time to transfer currency between banks, and so cryptocurrency, to varying degrees, is easier to use and a little bit more difficult to use than regular currency. But again, it's kind of like sidestepping government a little bit and trying to be its own thing, you know. And I think that as time goes on, I think people will pick and choose maybe what they want from the government and what they don't want, and that's I think currently happening to a great degree, you know.
Well, if cryptocurrency was any danger to the dollar, the government already would have shut it down a long time ago. And you know, if it is,
you can't shut it down. You can't
and
shut it down.
If it's a danger to the dollar, then cryptocurrency could be secretly part of the government. You never know.
No, Well, you cannot shut. Okay, with that the conspiracy theory as to whether or not cryptocurrency is part of the U.S. government or Illuminati, I have no idea. What I do know is that because having used it and owned some, that you cannot shut it down because you have, yes, you can see the blockchain, but you have no idea if the 35 or whatever character number of that particular currency belongs to me or not. So no one knows. They know that it belongs somewhere. They just don't know who it belongs to. So it really is pretty much unless you shut down the physical computers that run unless you shut down the internet, which is a completely ridiculous idea. You cannot shut down cryptocurrency. It cannot go away.
Yeah, but I
the
mean,
internet.
the I'm talking about like way up on the federal level. The main office where they really like internet security. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure their computers and their technology is pretty advanced, so they can do just about anything. They can look right through the cameras through our laptops. They can turn on our cameras and look right at our faces without us even knowing it. And they can access your phone and all your information on your phone. Without even getting to you. So how would not they be able to access cryptocurrency?
Exactly. We don't know. We don't know for sure.
Yeah, and then another question too, because what about the same thing that what happened to Bitcoin, right? It went up and then it went down. What about cryptocurrency? What about that goes up and then it goes down and it just goes out of style and something else comes in place?
Oh yeah, it's a risk.
Okay,
Everything's risk.
So you're kind of talking apples and oranges. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, just like Litecoin. There are many different kinds of cryptocurrency out there. Cryptocurrency is a word that encompasses many different kinds of coins, if you will. Bitcoin is a coin within cryptocurrency. Is it going? And then to your second point, there is it just in vogue right now? And hold on, let me go back a moment. You said it went down. Yes, at one point the huge media stories that at one time one cryptocurrency was worth $20,000. It got up to, and when it first started, it was worth like 3 cents. And so if you bought in way back when and it went up to like 20K, yes, you made a lot of money. Yes, it made big news. Right now, I think it's hovering around in between 8 and 9K per Bitcoin, and that's only Bitcoin. Is it going to go away? Who knows? I think that the future of cryptocurrency, that story has yet to be told and yet to be written. I think a lot of kinks need to be worked out. I think it has to become far easier to use, but there are people working on it, so you never know. Like the internet wasn't easy to use when it first came out either.
Yeah, well, I could tell you for sure. eBay and Amazon has no access to Bitcoin or cryptocurrency,
Correct.
And eBay and Amazon, they sell a lot of stuff, and so correct. Me myself, I buy a lot of stuff off of eBay, and a lot of people do.
Sure.
And so I haven't been exposed to even Bitcoin or cryptocurrency that much to even see any any interest of having it. Because if I could still use my PayPal account, which I have a PayPal, right, to buy stuff on eBay, then that's I'm already using the dollar anyways. I don't and I don't see access to that within eBay and Amazon. One of the big the biggest sells how you say on the internet. You know what I mean? The biggest selling stuff on
Yeah, you bring up a lot of interesting points. A lot of stuff that you're talking about relates to marketing and ease of use and usability, and there are a lot of hurdles that the crypto world knows that they have to, fix and move through before it can really become as ubiquitous as something like PayPal, for sure.
Yeah, it does. PayPal does have a lot of years and proving itself and being there, being reliable, at least for the most part. But
for sure. Oh, cryptocurrency is reliable. Definitely.
It hasn't been around that long though to prove it.
For
sure. It's got to be for a while to prove it there. Yeah.
Now, who is that? Wade or Dave who has the crypto, the Bitcoin?
Me, Daniel.
Daniel. Okay, Daniel. So what is the how does it work? I mean, I know that it takes up a tremendous amount of energy to manufacture, but they're having problems. They've already had Japan, Thailand. They've had rip-offs of major, millions of dollars. South Africa is going through it right now. So what is the procedure to acquire and trade Bitcoin?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank God in America thank God in America we're pretty darn safe where you're talking about exchanges being hacked pretty much, and we're pretty darn safe for the most part. I would say in 80 to 90% of the time, at least, and it's getting better and better. As we all know, cryptocurrency is very new, but past at least here in the States, when an exchange has been hacked, more often than not, they're getting better and better at making sure that your investment is secure.
Well, how do you acquire?
It's been a little bit of time since I've looked at the news stories, but I know that it's getting better.
Well, the problem, how do you
acquire it?
The biggest problem and the most biggest problem, most concern that I see is all money going electronically. I mean, if all money goes digitally and there is no physical money, that could be a big problem. I mean, you have all your money on a computer, you get hacked or whatever, or let's just say you defy the government and they shut you down. You could be really screwed. And having physical money, I see it's always in there's pros and cons to it. Versus digital and physical money. And I think physical money has more pros to digital money. Yeah.
I was just wondering. I was wondering about acquisition and trade.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, no problem. What I'll just very, very briefly say is that with regard to cryptocurrency being digital, it's digital, but it's still backed by your regular fiat U.S. dollars. You can cash out whenever you want, and you can take that money out of the ATM, and boom, it's physical. So, yeah, you can turn back into physical money anytime you want. And so how do you get it? The easiest way is to go to a website called Coinbase, coinbase.com, and there they have very few cryptocurrencies that you can invest in if you want to, and it's similar to buying like gold or silver, where it's very similar to a commodity in a sense where once you purchase it, it will go. You'll see the value of it go up and down, and so you basically hook up a bank account to Coinbase, and very similar actually to putting money into a PayPal account. You can buy, let's see, I'm right here, I have the app in front of me. There's the coins that are there right now are Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoin, and so they all have different purposes. Bitcoin right now, the big famous one, is trading at $7,355 per Bitcoin, and then if you want to so once you have your Bitcoin, if you want to go ahead and actually trade it, you would do that on an exchange. Yeah. And Coinbase owns an exchange called, I forgot now. It's been a moment since I
got a question.
Anyway, so that's how.
Yeah, go ahead. Daniel and Albert, I have to read something, okay? And I want to see if this hits home with you. My friend Ronald Stewart wrote this. Breaking rant alert. Let me get this straight. Mark Creepy Zuckerdouche, meaning Zuckerberg, allows for Russian meddling and adds to disrupt our elections, plus ISIS and terrorist organizations that have many Facebook pages, hate groups, radical groups, etc. But you cannot have cryptocurrency ads or groups to promote crypto on Facebook. Dude, Mark, are you so sick that you have not realized you have the world's population on their social mechanism and you don't have Facebook coins simply to avoid fees for your users who are members of your platform? So do you guys think that my friend is authentic in making this complaint?
Yeah, I'd like to hear the response,
Whoa.
certainly.
Like he's complaining that
sounds a little-
Zuckerberg allows everything else, but you can't put cryptocurrency ads on Facebook, pretty much. Is that a hindrance for most people?
I hadn't heard.
Yeah, I remember when that happened, and I think Google followed suit not too long after that. As far as ads for, so unfortunately, there are a lot of Ponzi schemes that are associated with cryptocurrency in the sense that, you know, Tom, Dick, or Harry will create, you know, like any odd coin, like, you know, Coke coin, or, you know, like I don't know, you know, let's clean the street coin, or, you know, whatever stupid coin, and then people will, you know, not research the company. And if the coin's website doesn't have the creators on it, you know, if it doesn't have a clear plan as to what they're going to do with the coin, things like this, those are definitely red flags, and maybe you shouldn't invest in it. But people do anyway. So people invest in whatever XYZ new hot coin is on the market, and then when the people who created the coin feel it's enough, they take the money and they run, and they shut down everything. And because everything is, you know, they don't have their real names, no one can track them. And so Facebook and Google got scared over this, and this is why they're not allowing advertisement for it. So that's, you know, it's another hurdle that the space has to go through.
Wow, that's interesting.
I want to go. I want to go on the question that I had 5 minutes ago. My question would be like, so, you know, if you can, you know, have money and the government doesn't know that you have that money. So let's just say you have $1 million, but you apply for federal aid, and you know, like you know, you can you start applying for welfare checks and, you know, food stamps or whatever, and you can get government assistance, and they won't even know you have $1 million. Well, you have extra. You're just, you know what I mean? So you can. You
mean like you mean $1 million, $1 million invested in like cryptocurrency?
Yeah, let's just say you have a lot of money in cryptocurrency,
Correct.
but you still want to apply for
Correct.
federal aid and a lot of
Correct.
benefits that benefit the poor people, and you still want to do it. You could technically get away with it.
Tough. That's what I have to say about that. You know, if the government can't create a system that will, you know, properly look into that, tough on the government.
And here's
the government's
another
rich enough, it doesn't matter. Huh?
It doesn't seem like the government's able to moderately control any type of system.
Well,
except for the Federal Reserve.
Yeah. We the people should be saying something about it. That's what I'm doing to make sure that the public knows about some of these idiotic, in my opinion, in many instances, programs and platforms.
And the thing is, Swiss bank accounts existed long before cryptocurrency. If you have money in Swiss bank account, does the United States government know about it? Probably not.
Yeah. But here's the other question. So let's just say, right, like you said, that the government doesn't have direct access to your cryptocurrency, so they can't shut down your money.
No one does.
Unless they literally get their hands on your computer, or literally get, you know, or literally try to hack you in a really smart way somehow. But,
because the only person that has access to that, basically that long string of numbers, is your digital wallet. The only person that should have access to your digital wallet is you, okay? So you are the only person that has access to that wallet. If the government, there's no way for the government to know that a 30-character number belongs to you by looking at the blockchain. It's impossible. Yeah. And it was created specifically for that purpose.
Well, let's just say they break into your house, right? And they search your stuff, and they get on your computer, and they're literally on top of your computer, like pushing buttons on it. And then they're gonna see something. I'm pretty sure they'll find it. You know, if they're literally on your computer, you know, and they look at your records.
If you're that worried about that, then you better not be saving any bookmarks. You better be erasing your history, and you better put that information somewhere where, you know, hopefully no one would ever look.
I think Albert is just talking about possibilities or probabilities.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
The pros and
but
cons.
if I have a question for Daniel, if one of my friends who actually used to be a porn star but then became an interior designer, one day she went and deposited $5,000 in the bank, and Homeland Security got alerted, and they interviewed her because she deposited that much money. But with Bitcoins or cryptocurrency, can somebody do? I think what Albert's getting at is, can someone do something without the government or someone else, some authority figure, knowing about it and possibly get away with it?
Well, what I'm trying to get at, the pros and cons. And what I really wanted to ask is that, like, say you have the cryptocurrency money, right? You have it, right? And somebody hops on your computer and steals your money, right? Now,
No. They would have to know.
Let's just say your brother has access to your PIN number, gets access to your PIN number, and hops on your computer and steals your money or something like that, right?
That could happen with your bank account. That could happen with PayPal. But the thing is, I see what you're saying. There are several wallets out there.
I just want to ask the question.
For sure, yeah.
Dane was asking.
There are several different ways.
There
are several different ways. There are several different ways that you can have your money in cryptocurrency. What exchange is it on? What wallet is it on? Those people would have to know that information, and they would have to have your username and password to put in there. Maybe I have my information on. There's so many wallets out there and so many different exchanges. It's late, and I'm not thinking of them all. But, what if I have my money on Mickey Mouse Exchange and nothing in Coinbase? They would have to know that.
That's it. Well, yeah, I see what you're saying, but let me just finish my question. So let's just say someone hops on your computer and gets access to everything you just said, right? Gets access to everything you just said and steals your money, right? And so the point is what I'm getting at is, how do you recover your money, all right?
You don't.
And the thing is, like, say, if you have your money, if you have your money, let's just say, Wells Fargo's, right? And you have a savings account with Wells Fargo's. When you do your taxes, you're going to report that in your taxes. Or when you use financial aid, you can report that in your financial aid or government aid. And the government's going to know about it. So then when they have Wells Fargo's and you steal your money in Wells Fargo's, guess what? You can claim, say, hey,
I think you guys, let's drop this scenario thing, because even when I lost money through PayPal, they reimbursed me immediately.
If
it's through a legitimate company, you're going to get your money back. But if it's through some kind of anonymous transaction situation, you may not get your money back.
Right. But also, the IRS has no way that you have anything in cryptocurrency because they can't find it.
Right.
So that means.
So could I be Saddam Hussein's niece and collaborate with terrorists and possibly transfer cryptocurrency?
And then use cryptocurrency. That's where a lot of the money comes, the dark money.
Jane, I'm sorry, it's 10:30. I need to get going. I have work early in the morning.
It's okay. We have 4 hosts to entertain ourselves in a strange manner. But once the archive's completed, Daniel, it's going to be uploaded by YouTube by Thursday and also on our BTR site. So tell your friends.
For sure. Again, it's an honor. It's a pleasure meeting you all. Thank you so much for listening to me. And I just wanted to mention one final thing before I leave here. I don't know if it was mentioned at the beginning or not, but I am the CEO and creator of Pazzaria Productions. I'm also the writer of all 3 works, The Legend of the Lost Rose, Spark the Flying Frog, and the Spellbook. I don't know if that was mentioned or not. But anyway, thank you again. Good night, everyone.
Sure. Good night, Daniel. Hey, you guys, I was just going to say, whoever was talking over Daniel a minute ago shouldn't have been, but basically there's 4 of us still on the line. We can talk as long as we want, but I'm probably going to want to go to bed in 20 minutes too, but basically a lot of things in the United States are regulated, maybe not in other countries, but I don't Don used to know more about the Bitcoin than anybody, so I'm not really well versed on the subject.
Me neither.
Well,
Don, how about you? Do you still know a lot about it?
Well, I don't know a lot about it. That's the whole point. I know some things about it, but not the entire story on the manufacturer is incredible because the computer work consumes a ton of electricity, and so it's hard, difficult to produce them. But I was very interested in the trade aspect, the acquisition and trade, because it is something that unfortunately, because I can't stand computers, is going to be with us, and some of us are going to lose money from it being hacked or being a pyramid Ponzi scheme, but that's the chance that people take. And
well, I know very little about it, but basically from what I've been hearing, like, oh, it's safe and that they try to, but here's the thing, like even Microsoft, they every version from like Windows 7 and then Windows 8 was supposed to be safer, and then Windows 10 is supposed to be safer, right? But but they still get hacked all the time. You even look at the PlayStation and Xbox, right? They try to offer their new systems to be more safer, but guess what? They get hacked. They still get hacked all the time. And I haven't seen any digital software that has never been unhacked. Even Apple's been hacked, and they try to say they're unhackable, and their new Apple version is unhackable and never get hacked, and they never get hacked.
Albert. The freaking remedy to that is don't use the motherfucking computer. I only use my computer for emails, and that's almost it.
Yeah.
So the only reason I have a phone, the only reason I have a smartphone is for work. So I do not use. I use the internet and social media. I don't even know how to use spell Facebook. So
but
it's a real simple answer. It's don't use the computer.
Yeah, but where I'm getting at, just to finish up real quick. So like I was saying, Microsoft and Apple, right? I mean, they get hacked all the time. So here's the thing. So what guarantee do they have that Bitcoin's, or cryptocurrency will, of the blockchain program, right? What guarantee do they have to back your dollar up when you put your money in there? They're going to guarantee, like you put $20 in there, they're going to guarantee no matter what happens, they're going to give you $20 back if you lose it, no matter what happens. No, they just said the software is unhackable.
There's no guarantees.
But guess what? No, I've never seen a software that was unhackable at one point. So,
it'll be hacked.
How many times they say they're unhackable, one day it'll be hacked like everything else.
You sound like you're scared. Albert, don't be scared. Don't be scared, man. Just congratulations on graduating college, and you got a whole big, long life ahead of you. And you can't be scared. These things are going to happen. If it happens to you, it happens to, whomever owns that Bitcoin or whatever.
I got nothing
crypto. They're going to and the thing is, from what I hear, and that's what I wanted to know tonight, Daniel was able to answer, is that it is a non-traceable. I mean, it is completely on the dark, pretty much dark web. And so that's untraceable right now. And, they can get into your passwords and all that stuff and have to really decipher to get your number. Now, I also wanted to know, can you get do you get physical Bitcoin, or do you have to just have paper certification? I mean, because possessing the actual coin is I think
here's the thing. Better. Well, here's the thing. So, I mean, let's just say, they say the cryptocurrency is unhackable, but let's just say I get hacked and I lose my money, right? At least if I have my money at, like, in Walgreens, right? I mean, Wells Fargo's, right, or Bank of America, right? If I get hacked in Bank of America, I can just look at my bank and say, look, this is how much money I had at Bank of America because this is I just got a receipt yesterday, so that's how much money I have. So,
they can't trace it to Wells Fargo. They can't trace it to any bank. They can't trace it to any bank. They don't know you have.
That's not what I'm saying. I didn't say that. What I said was, let me repeat it again. Okay, if I get my cryptocurrency hacked, right? Like I can't get that money back, right? But if I get hacked at the Bank of America, if I get hacked there, if I have like a paper receipt or some kind of paper proof that I just went to Wells Fargo there, I can prove that that's the money that I have there, and I can recover that money back if I have some kind of paper proof. Yeah.
Yeah. Gray markets risky.
The FDIC insures bank monies.
Mhm. And so
but you're just shit out of luck if you have crypto and it gets hacked and it's taken. There's I don't know of any retribution that you can remedy that you can have. There's because there's no really judicial tenement to say who does what, when, where. That's what I'm afraid of, or that's what I conjecture. But
check this out.
It doesn't have any regulation.
Well, here's the thing. Before the American dollar, right? Before it used to be backed by gold, and before we went, everybody started banking, and we went over how much money and dollars we would have compared to gold.
It's still backed by gold.
Yeah, but we have more money than we have gold in value, so it's kind of
But you know what? But you just said the.
Nixon altered the gold standard, but I forgot how.
But here's the thing. Before we started going into bank and interest and loans and stuff like that, and our money was backed the old-fashioned way by gold and whatever, you know what I mean? The old-fashioned way. And there was a big back a long time ago, right? There was they were going broke or something, and everybody started pulling out their money out of the banks, but the banks didn't have enough physical money to give everybody their money back. You know what I mean? And that's how we start making, the money started making digital money, right? And interest and whatnot and stuff like that, right? And so here's the thing with the cryptocurrency, right? Let's just say that cryptocurrency starts to get hacked, and some people start to get hacked and start to lose their money, right? And so then everybody panics, and everybody tries to pull all their literally cash money, cash money out of cryptocurrency. So they all try to pull physical money out of there because nobody wants to get hacked because it just happened to, let's just say, 1,000 people. So now you got like 1 million people pulling money out of cryptocurrency, getting physical money. And if that ever happens, it's gonna be really bad because it might get to a point if too many people do it, they might not be able to produce all that physical money.
Yeah, like a stock market crash. I mean, the value would drop quickly.
It's just like when remember when we invaded Iraq and we seized the assets of all the prominent people? Like anybody has to be stupid to put all their money in a place where that can be found. That's why you should divide your money, a third in the bank, a third in the mattress, and a third maybe loaded on debit cards. You should never put all your eggs in one basket.
Get real estate. My uncle says it's real. Think of the word real in real estate. That's the way to go.
That's cool.
You mentioned Albert, value. That is the key thing in what all you just said. For the most part, the value of gold, the value of fiat money, the value of things that are material, other things, commodities, they all have value. Bitcoin is brand new, relatively new. The Bitcoin cryptos are relatively new. And there really isn't a value. That's why they keep going up and down and up and down. 3 days ago, it was up at almost 9,000, and today, that Daniel just mentioned, it was down to 73. So we're talking about value is what it is in people's minds, and so the value of the internet is the value of Bitcoin. It's essentially, from what I can tell, it's a direct correlation between those people who are taking time enough and want to invest in something that is new and has no value, and is finding its level of value. It's
just one avenue. It's not the whole kahuna.
Right. And the serious thing about it is that it seems to be as secure in most places, at least in America. It seems to be as secure as this, offshore bank account. It's going to be very, very, very difficult to find, if not impossible. So that's the equivalent, but its value is based on the internet. Is based on the popularity and the desire.
Based on people's beliefs.
To be exactly.
Go ahead, Wade.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like magic. It's like as long as people believe in it, it has value, right?
That's good.
This is a new
and if our economy ever does collapse, no amount of security and protection is going to save us. Like,
the thing
you could have like $6,000 rolled up in your bed. If the currency goes shit, it's not going to be worth anything.
But the
have a garden in your backyard.
Could stay solvent. The cryptocurrency could stay solvent. That's what we don't know. That's key.
True.
If the rest of the financial system breaks down, the possibility of this third or fourth or seventh currency can make it through. It'll be the standard.
That's a good point, Don.
Yeah. Well, for long-term investing, you want to invest in gold. That's the best place to go. But for short-term investing, because if you're spending money all the time, then just like you said, don't put your eggs all in one basket, right, all over the place, right?
Albert, can I just ask you a question? What's your overall thrust for this discussion? That things can't be trusted, or life is fragile? I was just wondering what you're trying to get at.
Well, I'm just going through, like I said, all the pros and cons, all the things that I'm looking at it critically, critically and legitimately, through it. So I'm not being biased against cryptocurrency because it's not a person. It's so it's not like it's not like somebody I know. It's just some software. So I'm being neutral to it.
Okay. Anyways, we have been going for over 90 minutes, and it's time for our conclusions. We've been going it'll be 2 hours and 10 minutes. 2 hours in 10 minutes.
That's you. We've only been on an hour and a half.
Okay, I'm going to give... I don't know where Wade's at mentally or if he has to work tomorrow, but I give you guys the flag to keep going. I'm signing off the air.
Well, that's all right.
I'm going to have to get off, too.
I'm ready to go, too. I've had a busy week, and so, it's been the delightful
Why don't you do your conclusion first, Don, and then Wade, so they can get going?
That's what I was just going to do. I appreciate you guys for having that information, specifically the Bitcoin. That was something a little different, a little enlightening from what we've had in the recent past. But, I just wish everybody would, whatever they're going to do, they don't do it in fear. There is no such thing as fear. There is no fear. What people do... Well,
there is fear, but you shouldn't act on it.
No, there shouldn't be fear at all. But everyone's living the dream. Everyone's living where they want to live in the manner that they want to live in. So there is no need to question to be wary of every corner and every shadow. There's this life. There's just moving on a continuous pulse of lava flow, if you will, the upturning and of change, and we just got to live with it. You got to suck it up, look at where you're at, and determine what you need to do the next day to progress into the future. And that's it's a one step. It's a one step, one day at a time kind of thing. And be wary of where you are at all times, and be careful of what you're doing. But you don't live in fear and complaint, because it leads to complaint, and complaint becomes you just are petrified. You can't move.
Well, even when I was in a battered women's shelter by USC, I didn't live in fear. I just figured the next day would come.
That's what God's plan, whatever His plan is.
Amen.
But that's one of the things that I hope that everybody understands, is that the fear causes the hate, and the hate causes the insurgents, and the insurgents cause insurrection, and the next thing we know, we're in a position like Venezuela where nobody has any money, and it's coming to that because the 1%ers got their tax reform, and we're just looking at the fact that we could be a third world type country if we don't stabilize our economy and our minds, our psyche. We've got to
and our debt ratio.
Yeah, we've got to remain balanced. That's my conclusion.
Wait. Thank you, Don. And wait, just remember, Don, just remember not everybody comes from a place of security, though. Like, you have a wife with a pension. It's not like you've been struggling at an $8 an hour job your whole life.
Yeah, well, no, I haven't made that much money, believe me, but it's just because what I do...
I'm just saying some people have more security than others, and some people have been put in situations they didn't want to be and had no choice.
Jane, anybody
That's not easy.
Anywhere, anybody can be anywhere at any time if they work hard at it and concentrate.
Mm-hmm.
And Albert's a great lesson for that. He persisted, and now he's got his degree. So congratulations, Albert, and that's,
awesome.
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
I'm going to let Wade go next, but Don, can I say something? There was a guy on NPR this weekend who had a speech impediment, and his brother had killed 2 people in the community, and their family was marked. But anyways, he ended up going on to Harvard, getting a degree, and now he's a professor somewhere in the United States. I'm not sure where, but he still has a speech impediment to this day.
Okay. Well, that's good.
So you're right. People can make it out of darkness.
Yeah, even those, they're the people on paralytic sports teams. They're, running around here with no arms, no legs, paralyzed, that they're moving, and you got to give them a lot of props. A lot of our veterans come back, and they have nothing to live for, but they get into something that they can do that is amazing. So, we've got to give everybody.
There is a veteran who's running for public office who lost one of his eyes, and he just won the primary. I think it might have been not in Kentucky, but another southern state.
Wade, I hope he has a pirate eye patch.
Well, good night, guys. Thank you.
Good night, Don.
All right, good
Wade,
night.
you can go now.
Sure. Oh, I hope the guy has a pirate eye patch. Yeah, that'd be good. We need more politicians with pirate patches.
I'm not sure.
All right. So anyway, everybody, before I came on, got to meet and discover the magical, talented Daniel Rappaport with Pazzaria Productions and the imagination that he's going to bring into the world. So then we started talking about Donald Trump, an ever popular topic these days. Depending on, everybody has an opinion on that. One thing I would advise about that is if people want to understand what's going on with that, I would encourage people to try to look up stuff on YouTube. If you want to understand why Donald Trump's got into office, look at what some of the right-wing people on the internet are saying. And I think, like, Ben Shapiro is kind of a moderate. He can point out things in both directions and doesn't have an extreme point of view. But, yeah, the TV news, they seem pretty lost. They don't know what's going on, I think. But
definitely.
Or
they're
just
on
the internet, you
can
can get
too hard from one side or the other.
Exactly. And on the internet, you can get a lot of different point of views. You can look at, like, the Young Turks, or they can see both sides a bit, and that's one way to go. And then there's also, if you want to understand the hardcore support for Donald Trump, there's InfoWars. I think they had a lot to do
Albert
with getting him elected.
That a lot. Albert
watches
that a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I worked at a Trump rally.
Out that I interface with conservatives in Superior at a restaurant twice a week, and there's Trump supporters, and they just have a certain point of view, and it's logical to them, and they don't try to demonize it. It's just they have a tough stance on immigration and other things, but they're not just run of the mill. They have reasons why they support Trump.
Yeah, it's definitely good. I think it's good that, I think both of us try to understand all the different sides of the spectrum and try to see where everybody's coming from, and I think that's valuable. And we talked about our dream of the future, and should I tease about what we talked about for next week?
Sure.
Yeah, that we, with Don last week, he mentioned that there were some studies that said that, like, printed media works better for education than computers. And I was curious about that. I'm wondering if I want to read up on these studies. Not yet, but I'm going to look into it, and I want to see and revisit the discussion. And I'm wondering, I have my suspicions that did those studies really cover the possibilities fully? And so I'm curious about that. So
sure,
yeah, we were talking
I'll
about
do some research too. By the way, Albert, I know you called the show in last, so go ahead. Feel free to make your own conclusion after Wade's done.
I think I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thanks, Wade, for joining us. Now, we know you're on call, Wade, so if you can't call in one week, it's okay. We're not binding you with our blood oath.
All right, but I do want to call in next week, and I should have time. I'll be off.
Yeah, you can for sure, and I can make it the headliner. Now, Albert, can I tell Wade one thing before we all hang up? One time, Albert and I got in a big argument about. In college, I studied the classics like Rousseau and all the people who formed the European-style government. And Albert was trying to tell me that if it's not on the Internet, you cannot verify the truth. And I told him to go back into ancient Europe and read all the classics, and that's where the truth was. But then I realized for people of color or people who brought up in native culture, like John Smith's Economics or Rousseau and the Social Contract or Thomas Hobbes, his belief that a civil exchange should be met for natural rights, like maybe those truths aren't relevant to somebody like Albert, who is a millennial and didn't grow up with paper books and teachers who encouraged him to read classics. So maybe it was irrelevant for Albert, and maybe I was trying to shove my opinion down his throat by only honoring 14th to 17th century writers. However, people were a lot better educated in those days, and they knew
Mm-hmm.
Latin and English. And if you even go back to St. Augustine, who wrote The City of God in the 5th century, like masterpieces like that don't compare to what people write today. So
Yeah, well, we're
anyway.
getting stuff from the elites of the time, too.
Oh, well, I said you can't compare it. You can't prove it anywhere. But what I said is that on the video on the internet, if you see a video of a person saying it versus, something that's, written, it's easier, more provable than, the video of somebody talking and you can see their mouth.
Oh, that is a good point.
And you can see they're talking.
Yeah.
I think I misinterpreted part of what he said, but our fight lasted about 3 weeks, and finally Don was the peacemaker.
Oh, wow. That's a good point.
I just mean it because I always like to see a video of a person's face, because when the person's saying it, I can see his facial expression, the way he expresses himself with body language and facial language.
Yeah, we understand that, Albert, but what I was trying to project to you is let's say we're arguing capitalism versus socialism. Now, I'd rather tune you into Karl Marx's original work than to have you watch a video about maybe someone preaching on socialism. Like, educationally, it would be better if you read Karl Marx's work or some German authors to understand what the origins of socialism were about. So maybe that's me being egg-headed. I don't know.
Well, I mean, on that term, I mean, that's a different term. I get that part. I mean, that makes sense. But, I mean, that's if you're originally trying to look at for the original, terms of communism, socialism, stuff like that. But it doesn't even matter now because socialism and communism are viewed completely different from the original forms.
Right, and also, like, a lot of stuff you bring up is current events, so it's kind of way far off the track of how I was educated. But either way, both of you guys, I have, like, a major headache, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning here. I was wondering if we could fade out now, and Albert, if you have a conclusion, could you go?
Oh, well, I like what he was just saying, on what he was saying when you can, go out there and look for it, like from Donald Trump and what they think, and go out there and look on the internet. And it makes sense what he was saying, but also, too, I mean, because he was saying basically, like the Young Turks and basically independent media. He was mentioning independent media, which is good, because, the mainstream media, it's, literally the mainstream media, But here's the thing, though. Even independent medias are having a really hard time than any people think because a recent channel that I was, a recent political channel that I was watching, or Dopper, and let me try to remember, what's it called? Hold on, give me a minute. I think it's called oh, no, okay, my phone's not working. Never mind. So, oh, wait.
It's okay.
Yeah,
just give us the main idea.
Yeah, Mr. Doctrine. Anyway,
Wade's fading too.
It was a right wing a YouTube channel, and they're always about their gun rights and everything. Well, anyways, that YouTube channel got shut down for a while, and because they said some I guess some things that offended some people, and then it finally got reopened just 2 days ago. So it's been shut down for a whole week. So that's just one YouTube channel that I was looking. But there's another YouTube channel as well. A couple of months ago they got shut down, and then they finally reopened their channel, and that was Black Pigeon.
Black Vision. Black Vision.
No, Pigeon. Like a
Is it
a pigeon.
Like,
yeah.
Were they shut down because of things they said that were controversial?
Yes,
Probably.
Exactly. Yes. And here's the thing, because the way YouTube, YouTube's owned by Google, right? And the thing is, it's not exact. There's no exact term for it. So like, you can say something, and the other person can can say something similar or the same, that they can view you completely different and treat you different than somebody else because their terminology is basically like, you know, if you say something offended or some kind of profanity or some kind of threatening manner or whatever, you know what I mean, your YouTube channel can be shut down. But a lot of people say it all the time, and they're not YouTube channels are shut down. It's only some people that get the YouTube channels shut down. So
Blog Talk Radio has new conditions too for our broadcasting, and I haven't even had time to read them all. So we might be violating some that we don't even know we're violating.
It'd be disappointing if we weren't, huh?
You guys, I'm going to wrap the show. No, I'm ending the show with a song by Bob Dylan called Most of the Time because it's his 77th birthday this week. So
and one quick thing, it's called...
Okay, I'm getting tired, Albert. We got to wrap it up. You got 30 more seconds.
Okay. It's called Black Pigeon Speaks. That's a channel a YouTube channel that got shut down, and then so I just want to say it real quick.
Okay, I'll try to. I'll Google the article. Thank you for joining us, Wade. I look forward to seeing you next week, and congratulations, Albert, on your achievement. And we'll talk soon. I'm available Wednesday and Thursday if you need to call me. God bless you all, and thank you for joining us. Good night.
All right. Thank you. Good night.